You are probably here because you need to scour the waiver wires thanks to injuries or these bye weeks. And let's start with the running backs on week 12. Devon Achane is the big one. R.J. Harvey, if you've been dealing with the Broncos backfield. Kamani Vidal, who got hurt, but also has the bye week. And then Cris Rodriguez Jr. as well, Matthew.
Yeah.
Not a wild set of bye weeks, but
not for the running back position, but Achane's obviously a big one. People have been using Vidal. People had high hopes for Harvey if they didn't listen to us last week. And then you think about the injuries. That's the other concern, is that in addition to Achane and a couple of flex plays there, Vidal was RB2-ish. We've got some injuries to get into.
That's
starting with Josh Jacobs, friend of the show. Josh Jacobs, friend of the pod. Josh Jacobs, number 8, hanging on our wall, but might not be playing this weekend against the Vikings.
Yeah, it's looking like an Emanuel Wilson week could be weeks with Josh Jacobs' injury. So hopefully you have insurance in Emanuel Wilson. If you don't, he's obviously our top guy on running backs right now. The 71% snap rate due to Josh Jacobs' injury. And we got to hear from Jordan Love on how he thought the backup running back played against the Giants.
Obviously, it's tough whenever people go down, but like we always say, next man up mentality. Emanuel Wilson came in. Obviously, he's played a lot of ball, but he did a great job tonight, just finding ways to keep going. Like I said, I don't think we changed things up much, kept going with our plan and our scheme, and he made some big-time plays in the run game. Obviously, the two-point conversion was big time, some big-time things in the pass game, and pass protection as well. So he did a great job.
Emanuel Wilson, 92% available. They have the Vikings, and then they are at Detroit. But the volume, Matthew, is got to be big here.
Well, right. They're a run-first team. That's the thing. That's how the Packers want to run their offense here as well. They're top 10 in rush rate on the season. The Packers are. They're top 12 in running back target share. Some of that obviously is because Josh Jacobs is just so good. And, Matt LaFleur, very smart, uses the Josie method of getting the ball in your best player's hands. Not every coach follows that. But you think about when Josh Jacobs went down in this game, he outsnapped Chris Brooks 36-5. He was the only running back to actually get a touch for the Packers once Jacobs left the game. He's had 6 career games, not a huge sample size, but 6 career games where he's gotten double-digit touches, and he's averaging over 13 fantasy points per game. Connor, I'm curious as to your thoughts on him as a player, but I feel like Emanuel Wilson, he's always had some nice preseasons, and he feels like more than just a guy.
I agree. He's been a nice surprise for them with the find that he's been, being, I believe, at UDFA. I don't think he was drafted by the team. He runs exactly what LaFleur wants, is that downhill, run hard, good burst in between the tackles. And Jordan Love referenced just how ready he is from pass pro aspect as well. They trust this guy on the field. Yeah. And I don't know if they trust anyone else left on the depth chart, Jay, where it might only be 2 to 3 weeks, but, I would imagine he's going to be a top 15 running back play for you because of the offense.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think
massive workload against a Minnesota defense that so far the last 4 weeks is 25th against the run.
Yeah, that's not the strength of their defense, much more the pass defense. Jamal Presses Wilson, the top pickup overall.
Yes.
The issue is
I think so. It depends on who else is out there, candidly.
The issue is that Jacobs isn't going to be out super long term, so it's more of a short-term fix, but probably the number one option for this week specifically. I think that
Can I answer that question? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you here. I just want to answer that question real quickly, Jamal, which is, I think it depends on, obviously, who's out there and what you need. But if I needed a running back, if I needed a player to start this week, then I think, or the next couple of weeks, then I think, yes, Wilson's the top pickup. But if I'm looking long term, I think the guy that is potentially out there in the most leagues that I think could potentially be a league winner is Alec Pierce of your Colts.
Oh, my man.
Yeah, your man.
My best friend.
Your buddy.
Alec
your
Pierce.
BFF.
Yeah, another pounder. Alec Pierce, he loves it. I agree with that because he will endure. His value will endure beyond 1 to 2 weeks, which might be what we're looking at with Emanuel Wilson. I do think with Wilson, the bear case around his potential value this week, the next week, was that maybe the Packers' offense is just no good because they were diabolical against the Panthers. They were even worse against the Eagles. And let me tell you, when Jordan Love got hurt in that Giants game and the Packers are down, it's like, is this season over for the Packers? They're just going to be done. They're going to be like 5-4-1 and the quarterback's hurt. Then Love came back in, and Connor, I thought Love was awesome in that game.
Yeah,
he led them down the field in the wind. He was chucking it Jordan Love style, a huge, deep average depth of target, and they seemed to kind of rediscover themselves a little bit.
And it feels like such a fine line between the awesome Jordan Love weeks and the dud weeks because it could come down to Christian Watson making a play over 3 defenders or him doing that twice. So that's the weird thing with Jordan Love is they constantly want to throw the ball down the field, but you just don't know what you're going to get in terms of how often he completes it.
Yeah. I will say I agree with everything you just said, with one exception, which is that I think if Jordan Love went down, I actually don't think the Packers would be screwed. I actually have been so incredibly impressed with Malik Willis since he's gotten to Green Bay. I thought he was a disaster in Tennessee. Yep. I'm in a dynasty league where somebody literally drafted him. This dynasty league that does their drafts prior to the NFL draft. So you just have to draft college kids and you don't know where they're going to land. And Malik Willis was the #1 pick in that league, not by me, but by somebody else in that league. It's all fantasy experts or people that do analysis for a living. Really smart league. And I was just like, wow, this is the biggest bust in our Dynasty League history. And then he got to Green Bay, and you're like, oh, okay. Maybe it was just Tennessee. Yeah. I've been really impressed with Willis since when he's gotten opportunities with Green Bay.
I mean, the 3 games that he's featured in over the past 2 years, they're 3-0. They haven't lost. Right. It certainly does seem to simplify the offense for Matt LaFleur. For sure. And because I think that he has been struggling to find what is best in this offense. The offensive line has struggled a little bit. Tucker Kraft is out. What are we doing as a passing attack? With Willis in there, it does get a lot easier. I mean, they're marching down the field on the ground, but Love certainly gives them a much higher ceiling.
Yeah, I just think there's some teams where you're just like, and I'm taking off the rails here again, as always, but like Lamar Jackson goes down, Baltimore, we saw it. I know Tyler Huntley won a game, but whatever. There's certain teams that if their quarterback goes down, we've seen it with Cincinnati, even though they got in production out of Flacco. You lose your starting quarterback, you're like, ooh. Yeah. But I actually think the Packers would be okay with Malik Willis. There we go, just some love for Malik Willis. That's all it is.
Our next running back is Kenneth Gainwell. He's 67% available. Obviously, Jaylen Warren is banged up with his ankle injury. We'll see how long-term that is. But Gainwell, no matter what, Matthew, because of how often the Steelers throw to their running backs, seems to have value, especially in PPR formats.
Yeah, they're top 10 in both. They're top 10 in running back fantasy points per game, but they're, to your point about passing to the running backs, they're 3rd in running back target share. Now, Aaron Rodgers is going to miss this game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It'll be Mason Rudolph, but it's not like Mason Rudolph has this cannon arm who's just going to be like, no, I'm just going to be chucking it deep.
Yeah.
It's going to be dump-offs, whether it's Gainwell or Warren, or likely both. Jaylen Warren said after the game, no, I could have gone back in. They were up big. He didn't want to press it. But players always say that. You know what I mean? It's not going to be up to the player. It's going to be up to the Steelers training staff. Now, this is an important game for them at Chicago, but so we'll see. But I just think Gainwell, because he's been so productive when Warren has been out, he's had 2 games he's played 2 games this year. Literally 2 games where he's had over 60% of the snaps. And in those 2 games, he's got 29.5 fantasy points and 31.4 fantasy points. He is somebody that has made Caleb Johnson irrelevant, and I think should be 100% rostered, because if I had Jaylen Warren, I'd want Kenneth Gainwell, because again, that if Warren were to miss time, whether it's this week or in the future, Gainwell can step in and be productive.
Yeah, and Connor, I think as you project the Steelers' offense going forward, I don't think Mason Rudolph's worse than this version of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that's a material difference really at all. Now, Rodgers was...
Did the line move at all? I bet you didn't.
Well, I mean, I think the line was kind of baked in that he probably wasn't going to play. I'm not sure he's been 100%. Has he been 100% ruled out?
No, but it'd be pretty shocking.
Does have a break in his wrist.
Yeah.
Feels like you miss a week with that,
Yeah.
At least. But Rudolph, again, this is it's a situation where, he's not Shedeur Sanders coming in out of the cold with no first-team reps or whatever. He has, the first-team reps thing is great, by the way. It's not like many...
He's the first backup quarterback that didn't get first-team reps during the week.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Unbelievable. That's the thing. Is the other guys, they don't get first-team reps either.
Time.
But in any case, I do think Rudolph, because of his history with the team, his understanding of the offense, should be a pretty clean transition. I mean, it was the Bengals, but he was fine in that game, and the Bears' defense isn't that imposing either.
Ryan Oswald asks, Gainwell or Swift?
Yeah, Ryan Oswald, by the way, I don't think he's ever been on the regular top 10, but he's starting to make, I wouldn't be surprised to see him on others receiving votes this week. He's been coming on strong lately. I think the answer is, Ryan, what I would say to you is, is Jaylen Warren playing? I think if Jaylen Warren is out, I think it's actually Gainwell, right? I'd rather go against Chicago than go against Pittsburgh. But if I'm a running back. But obviously, if Warren plays, then you want DeAndre Swift. Again, the Steelers have solved their run. They've been much better against the run recently. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own, Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.